What's poppin', everybody? This is Ray Rawlins from the Ray Rawlins Network, and I'm joined by Mr. Alex Payne as we continue on a 31 days of Halloween cartoons marathon nearing the end, baby. And this week we're gonna do something a little different. We did a lot of comedy, or not Comedy Central, but Cartoon Network cartoons. So we're gonna finish this last little strip of the marathon off with some Nickelodeon, and of course, we can't talk about no Nickelodeon cartoons without the spongy homie, Mr. SpongeBob SquarePants. So today we're reviewing the recently released, I suppose you can call it Halloween-centered episode, Halloweenish, whatever. SpongeBob SquarePants season 12, I believe it is. Is it 12 or 13? Who
Honestly, who
cares?
knows at this point?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But it's part A of whatever the hell episode it is, and it's called The Ghost of Plankton. Now, as usual, we're gonna have to go through an episode breakdown before we start talking about this bad boy. So, Mr. Alex Payne, what happens in this episode?
Well, I mean, you're gonna be pissed again, but this has a very simple plot. The episode starts off with Plankton watching a horror movie with Karen, even though they didn't really show it with Karen. I have a quick, to break away real quick, I just want to ask you something because I noticed this in this episode, and I feel like I noticed this in a lot of the episodes. Is it just me, or does Karen have a face on her screen more often now than she used to? Because it used to be just a line with the movement
Yeah,
when
right.
she talked, but now it's like she has the actual face on it a lot.
You know what? Um, it's funny because I didn't notice that. I was not paying attention to that. Like, I really did not notice that. Because
Yeah,
it still had the line on there when she talks, it moves and whatnot. But
no, because in this one she had because it had a line at first, and then after he draw it on him, when he was yelling at her, fuck that dog, and when she was yelling at him, like she had a full face the whole time. I mean, like I could say, okay, maybe they had a face there to like show her anger, but like
mhm.
I even noticed because I don't think there was a single point in the Karen's baby episode where they had the line there. I think it was always a face or something.
You know what? I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm 100% not lying to you. I did not notice that. And maybe you're right. I legit did not notice that. It's always been the line to me. Like little small things, I don't pay attention to that. I mean, granted, how the fuck can I miss a face on Karen's screen? But legit, I'm gonna go and look at that, and I'm gonna go back and see. And you're probably right, but I've always seen it to be the line. Always, it's always been the little line thing. And when she talks, it starts, doing the squiggly little thingy. But continue on with the breakdown.
Well, anyway, after Plankton gets an idea from the horror movie to turn himself into a ghost to go and get the Krabby Patty formula. So he pulls out this machine that squeezes his ghost out of his body. And after going to attempt to get the formula, he realizes that he can't pick it up because he's a ghost. So the Dutchman sees this and starts, laughing at him and telling him, you have to learn how to pick up things. So this episode is basically about the Flying Dutchman teaching Plankton how to be a ghost and teaching him all the basics of ghosting. And that's pretty much the episode.
Yeah. I don't see why you thought I'd be pissed. You're right. That's a good, simple breakdown. Um, and of course, since you're
Well,
gonna toss
honestly,
the ending,
I was just gonna say, well, this episode is about the Flying Dutchman teaching Plankton how to be a ghost.
it just doesn't make sense why you do that. But hey, you know what? I guess this is why this is why you don't do reviews on your channel. You must not like them or something. You gotta get more in depth with that. But anyway,
Yeah, but it's a balance. You don't want to say too little, but you don't want to say too much, because if you describe every single scene, and they might as well just watch it. It might as well be an audiobook.
right. You're right. But it's funny because I should have mentioned this earlier when you were talking about like the whole face on Karen's screen. To bring it back to that, when she unplugged herself, how did she get plugged back in? That's what I want to know. Because she
That's
unplugged
the thing.
herself.
Right?
It,
I saw
Go
this
ahead.
episode twice.
Okay.
And the first time I watched it, that was my immediate thought. I was like, wait, so how does she get plugged back in? Is it like she just does that, and it's up to Plankton for whenever he wants to just plug her back in? Or like, how does this
hmm
work? I was right there with you on that one.
It does not make no sense. I'm pulling the plug. Boom. So basically, Plankton wasn't there.
Actually,
Plankton never came back.
I think a better question is, did she just kill herself? That's the better
No,
question.
but you know what? That's what I thought. Especially saying it like that phrase like that. I'm pulling the plug. Boom. And then she just stops moving and whatnot. The line just disappears. It's
She
like,
just legit killed herself. She committed suicide on it.
You're right.
Because she was like, that's it, I'm unplugging. It's not like, you know what, I gotta unplug for a little while. And then she was like, that's it, this one over. End life. Control, Alt, Delete life.
SpongeBob must have went in there to see Plankton and plugged her back in. I guarantee you, if they showed anything, that's probably what it was. You see Plankton is just not moving and whatnot, and that's how he convinces everybody to have a funeral for him. Yeah. And everybody was probably just talking mad shit. Mr. Krabs, I know for sure because they showed it. He was over there laughing. He's like, shh. This motherfucker laughing his ass off. Plankton died, man. But first impressions of this episode.
For me, this was a very refreshing because like most of the later episodes we've reviewed have not been that great or just been on nothing. So I thought this one was pretty. Like my first impression was this was pretty good. It's pretty decent. Like it felt, I don't know, like it felt like an older episode in a way. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like it maybe because it had a similar quality and feel. Maybe that's what it was, but it felt like an old episode to me.
You got a whole bunch of different animals in your background, huh?
that was a dog.
That was a dog? I thought that was like a bird or something.
No, that was a dog.
But I guess
he just squeezed the short one out.
I could agree with you in that sense, but I honestly like if anything would bring it to the older episodes. It's like you said, the feel. But I didn't necessarily think of it as to be an older episode. Like, you know, it doesn't feel like, because older episodes, I think obviously like SpongeBob and Patrick, you know, it has the old music and whatnot. Like, I didn't hear any of the old like theme songs they had in the background.
It wasn't even
show
any
music.
of that. Maybe it was just like maybe it was the writing, or maybe it was just the fact that it was actually good. Maybe
that's the only thing. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's the only thing that could actually be what it is. Because
I'm not saying like it super feels like it, you know, but it just feels like if you randomly showed me this episode, other than the animation, because the animation is always, and even that I would say they didn't go too extreme with the animation like they usually do. Mm-hmm. But if you showed me this episode randomly, I probably would have guessed it was in like season 4 or 3. I wouldn't have guessed it was in the early seasons, but I would have guessed it was like in 3 or 4.
I will tell you this. Like I said, I kind of thought the same thing as you, but I didn't obviously pry on it too much. I was like, like this actually does have a good story and whatnot, and it kind of seems like something they would tell back in the day. And it's kind of disappointing too that like you said, the last couple 3-4 episodes we reviewed haven't really been all that good, and just funny, to have this one out of the blue, it's like, man, go ahead.
And it's funny because you mentioned recently, I can't remember in what review it was, but you mentioned recently that you would like an episode about the Flying Dutchman, and it's funny because this one is it's not about his origin story and then, but it's just funny how you like requested a Dutchman episode, and this one happened to be specifically about him.
Well, actually, people who are watching this, or I'm sorry, it's plural, gotta do a singular here on a Ray Rawlins network. The one person watching this won't know what you're talking about because that happens in the future on October 31st. See, listen, this is how ahead we are scheduled, man. We recorded that episode like a couple weeks ago. So
let's go with that.
You know, I gotta make myself look good. You know, we're doing big things here on the Ray Rawlins Network. Planning in advance, baby.
But it's September 31st at the time of this recording.
Oh, come on now. People who really know me won't believe that. But anyway, I gotta say, you're right. You're right. This is a Flying Dutchman episode.
That one person doesn't know you like that.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. But I did say in the future I wanted a Flying Dutchman episode, particularly just for like to see how he died, what type of person he was in real life, how he became a ghost, and all this and all that. So, and just seeing this episode more just made me want to see that origin story.
And I would say
But
that this episode gave me more faith in them of them making it good.
oh no, yeah, they finally like put their brains together and came up with something creative. But that's it for the first impressions. Let's get on to the moments of the episode that you liked or didn't like or whatever. What do you got?
Um, I think the whole episode was really enjoyable. See, I wouldn't say like I didn't laugh all the time, but I sure did get a good few laughs in there. But
Oh no, of course, yeah.
one of them that made me laugh was when he was teaching
I
Plankton
know
to
what you're gonna say.
shapeshift,
Yeah.
and shapeshift into this weird looking thing. I can't remember what it was though. And he's like, "That's not scary. Bad ghost, bad." And he starts spraying him with the cat spray thing. That was funny. I thought the whole scene with Squidward was kind of funny. That was
Oh
funny to
yeah,
me.
this whole scaring scene and
Yeah,
whatnot.
when he was haunting the house.
And you know what? I was looking out for one thing in particular, and I'm sure you know what it was, because if you're a true SpongeBob fan, you thought of it too. And I'm gonna tell you what it is. Remember the whole ghost host episode where Squidward didn't believe in
Yeah,
ghosts, and then basically at the
yeah.
end, Dutchman came and scared the shit out of him. So, and I was so remembering too. It was like, man, I wonder how they're gonna do Squidward. Is he gonna be like, oh, ghosts aren't real or whatnot? But as soon as he saw it, he got scared shitless. And I'm like, good job. They remembered something
Is
from the
that
past and they played
SpongeBob?
so well. Oh, and that's another moment for me that I like when Plankton transformed into SpongeBob. He started doing the laugh and whatnot. This is like, hey, if you
Yeah.
want a way to scare Squidward, that's it right there. That's definitely it right there. And he started
It
doing the
was funny
laugh.
to me
Rawr,
when
rawr, rawr.
it was funny to me when like after the Dutchman shut dog after the Dutchman went inside
My dog's barking too.
when the Dutchman went inside of the body of Plankton. And
Yeah.
he was happy and dancing, and then when he saw the people coming, he tried to scare them. He was like, "Run, run!" And he was like, "Er?" That was funny to me. Um,
Yeah,
you got any more?
I will tell you that the I was gonna say the scaring scene too, and I just like how they got so damn mad and they were just basically stomping his ass out, just stomping him, kicking him all over the place. Then he finally hopped out of Plankton. He's like, "Here, you can take it. You can take the body bag." Boom, and just throws it at him. And Plankton gets inside, and Dutchman just takes off. What did he tell him? He said, "I'd rather be a dead me than a live you." That's exactly what he said right there.
Damn.
Now that just straight treated his life. But when he finally
Literally.
takes off, yeah, of course. But when he finally takes off, you know what? It's so bogus too how Dutchman did it. Finally took over Plankton's body. He was like, because Plankton was telling him that he's a temporary ghost. He's like, oh, you mean a vessel? I haven't possessed a body in years. And Dutchman said he taking that opportunity. He said, fuck it, I'm out of here. Vroom. He's like, you can't do that. Dutchman said, hell no, I'm living. But Plankton basically sees everybody, and of course they're pissed and whatnot, and so they start just stomping them out again, and they basically almost killed the dude if they didn't. So, but I say that's all my favorite moments right there. I can't think of any more. So let's get on the final reviews. What do you got to say about this episode right here?
I thought it was a very enjoyable episode. I thought the pacing was nice. Was a very interesting idea. Had a lot of really good scenes. So I think I'm gonna have to give this episode. I think I'm gonna have to give it a nice 8. It was a really really enjoyable episode,
Really?
especially for modern SpongeBob.
Right. Okay. 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 Um, like I said, I'm right there with you. So, like, the one thing I was concerned about was the whole story. Like, especially how they went from watching the movie and playing, it automatically gets this idea, boom, I'm gonna turn into a ghost. I was very worried. You have no idea how quick they jumped into that. I was very scared. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was very, very scared for this
Honestly, I would say
episode.
that's a good thing though, because a lot of episodes they'd have like friggin' 3-4 minutes of filler before they even get to the whole premise. Like,
Uh, yeah,
like,
I suppose.
like for example, like a Krusty Krab episode, SpongeBob would have to do this big elaborate dance and throwing Krabby
Yeah.
Patties everywhere and all this other shit for like
Yep.
3 minutes, and then they'll get to the fact that it's about him having a hurt tooth.
Yeah. You know what? Wasn't the what was wrong with him? A couple. Was it amnesia he had? He had something. I'm trying to remember what it was. Was
Oh,
it
the
memory
fingernails.
loss?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
fingernails.
yeah, the nail biting. I forgot all about it. That episode. Basically, that's kind of how it started. It didn't start just like that, like a snap of a finger, like this one started. Squidward talked about how he was hating the Krusty Krab and whatnot, and then it just, SpongeBob's trying to talk to him, and it just cuts to the back. You see SpongeBob just biting his fingernails. So I kind of
Yeah.
like that one. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the best. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best, and I still thought that one was pretty decent. But with this one, like I said, the story just getting jumped into like that, just almost immediately, kind of had me shook for a little bit. I'm like, oh no, oh, this isn't gonna be a good one. But they redeemed themselves. They brought in the Dutchman. They had a whole nice elaborate story. Like, I thought this was gonna be a whole episode, of course, where Plankton's trying to steal the Krabby Patty formula, and he's probably gonna get it, and Mr. Krabs is gonna try to get it back from him or whatnot. The whole thing they did like 20 million times probably. But it swerved me, and they did something completely different, way better than I thought they'd do it. So, like I said, good story, honestly, for the short amount of time they had with it. I kind of want to see more of it, to be honest with you. I kind of wish, like I said, with every SpongeBob and every other 15-minute episode, I wish there was more of it. Honestly, I want to see a whole complete episode. But with the time that they had, they did a good job of, working with the time that they had, telling a complete story, beginning, middle, end, and they gave us a nice, funny ending too. So I will say I was very impressed with this episode. Definitely stood out from the new ones that they're releasing, the couple ones, because I thought, like I said, I was going to have to give another bad review. But you know what? I'm right there with you. I will say an 8. But since I'm saying so close to an 8, I'm going to have to stick to my gimmick. And nah. I will give it an 8 because I honestly think this dude deserves it too. I'll honestly give it an 8. I want to push 8.5, but you know what? I think 8 is a nice, solid, solid ground. Like, yo, this is pretty good. So I'll give it an 8 for what it is. Right there with
Yeah.
you. So there y'all have it. Ray Rawlins and Alex Payne give this one SpongeBob SquarePants season 12, episode 13, I think it is. The Ghost of Plankton, and 8. So with all that being said, we're going to continue this week off of the 31 Days of Halloween Cartoons Marathon with Nickelodeon shows. My name is Ray Rawlins. His is Alex Payne. We will see ya when we see ya. Peace.